Hey there, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to our show. We call it Tournament Horse Racing, and here's what we've done. We've taken the horse racing calendar, we've broken it up into four separate tournaments throughout the year, and each of those tournaments it's going to consist of 10 individual racing days. Each of those individual racing days, which is exactly what you're watching tonight, is going to consist of four separate races. And each of our individual horse players, which includes me, myself, here is going to go ahead and make a mythical $2 win place wager in each of those horse races. And whoever wins the most money at the end of today's tournament wins today's tournament. Whoever wins the most money at the end of the 10 individual racing days wins that entire tournament here. This one is called the Preps, and that's how we do it here on Tournament Horse Racing. As far as this tournament's concerned, I'll be your host. My name is Rich Sharp, and I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to our horse players in no particular order. I'm going to start all the way on the other side of the country. He's my good friend for a number of years now. He lives in Staten Island, New York. He is our East Coast horse player, if you like to think of him as that. Ray Torado, what's new? What's exciting? What's going on over there on the East Coast?
Oh, we're doing good. Spring is we have 50s and 60s, and it's allergy season, so I'm a little stuffed up here. They're blossoming quickly, man. But I don't mind. We beat the snow, so
Nice, nice. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to swing right across the country. I'm going to go just a little bit to the north of me. He lives in Menifee, California. He's also a good friend of mine. He's our newest horse player, very successful horse player as well himself. Steve Newsom, how are you doing, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing good, Rich. Successful is probably a bit
Okay,
strong
maybe
word
it's a
there.
stretch, but you're expanding your repertoire as far as the sport of horse racing is concerned. Let's not forget, you and I only met 5 years ago when you were asking me things like, "So how many legs do they have?" You know, right? All right. And last but certainly not least, he's making himself a drink over there. I can see it on the screen, and he's
No, it
just
almost makes me want to get up and make one.
from
yeah,
Joe's bar.
yeah,
Oh,
he's going to bring up a whole new segment here on Tournament Horse Racing. Just a little bit to the south of me, also a longtime friend of mine, one of the most successful horse players I actually know. As a matter of fact, I've given him credit for being the best horse player I know. But Joe English, what's going on? How you been?
Good. Like I said, Rich, just trying to make myself an amaretto sour and trying to figure out why Ray's complaining about being 50 and 60 degrees while it's normally like 50 or 60 below where he is
Yeah, yeah.
not
No,
complaining. It's just allergies.
anyway. No, I know. It's just,
My nose is itchy, man. I can't smell the horses.
Ray, before
that's not doing well.
before we cut away, all three of us will sit there and tell you. In California, we actually got into the 20s this week, in a strange
Oh,
cold
really?
spell. And yeah, it almost froze us out. So,
Yep. Yep.
Man.
okay, all right. I will go ahead and cut to our regular segment. I'll take us back to what happened last week. I just want to remind everybody that Ray, Steve, Joe, and myself, we're just horse players. We enjoy the game of horse playing. We are most certainly not selling our picks or endorsing in any way what we're doing here as far as tournament horse racing is concerned. Again, we're just horse players. We enjoy the game of horse racing. We hope all of you do as well. And without further ado, and before I get into last week, I will address a question. I get this each year. It seems like people are interested in what's going on behind me here and things like that. And as you see over here, this is to my right. Yeah, those are several bobblehead dolls that I've accumulated on the shelf. Some of them are actually trophies that came from tournament horse racing. So, but you see over here, we've got Bob Baffert's in the corner, and Tyler Gaffleone and John Velasquez and Irad Ortiz. Irad Ortiz with his red base on there, and Todd Fletcher, and of course Chad Brown. And every once in a while, someone catches the fact that yes, I do have Chad Brown sitting there on a little tuft of grass. And if you go up one shelf from there, you'll see Zenyatta and Mike Smith, and another shelf up, you'll see California Chrome. And behind me is another trophy from tournament horse racing. So that's Irad Ortiz. I mentioned him down there with the red base. This one's got a black base. And if you've ever seen our show before, I will speak for Joe, Steve, Ray, myself. Irad Ortiz is a really popular jockey on this show. Without further ado, let's go ahead and let's start taking a look at what happened last week on tournament horse racing. Oh, you know what? That's actually that's for another segment here. We'll go ahead and give that to you right before we update you on what's going on at Fairgrounds. But I will start last week. It was a little bit of a close contest, as you see there. I got ahead of I believe it was Ray there in the opening sequence, and finished up. I can't remember. It was like Dryferos was the name of the horse that I hit there in the opening leg, giving me $25. And as you see there, that puts the one next to my name. We move out back to summary of the quarter one. As you can see, Joe still has a sizable lead. Go ahead and give me the win for last week at Tampa Bay Downs, as we have stayed in the South through this brutal cold spell that has overtaken the country. And now, this week, we are heading to Fairgrounds Racetrack down there in New Orleans. And as you saw, I gave you a peek there of what we're looking at there on Saturday. They are looking at 58 degrees, only a 1% chance of rain. So for those of you who are turf fans, but generally sunny despite a few afternoon clouds, a high of 58. Sounds like a perfect day for horse racing down there in New Orleans. Let's go ahead and bring up where we will start today. We're going to go ahead and do races 10, 11, 12, and 13 for today's tournament. Post time is going to be 5:37 Eastern time or 2:37 out here on the West Coast. We're going to start again with race number 10. They're going a mile and a 16th on the main track. It is the Mine Shaft Stakes. It's presented by Raylene by Haggard or Hagyard. It's a grade three. The purse is $250,000. It's for 4-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is in post number 6. Excuse me. That's Happy American, trained by Neil Pessin and ridden by James Graham, 7-2 on the Fairgrounds morning line, and as our tradition, I'll go ahead and lead it off. I'm not trying to talk too much here on this show. It just so happens that as I won last week, I'll go ahead and lead it off. And I'm going to go ahead and start with not the favorite, but probably the second choice in tomorrow's race. This is Tawny Port. If you've watched our show before, you know I have an affiliation for Brad Cox, and especially Brad Cox and Foreign Giroux together, where they hit 47%. We've done this so many times in our lives. We will go ahead and just draw a line through what happened there in the Pennsylvania Derby, at least in this particular race. It might come back later in the race. We might see it. But this horse had won prior to that, had won 2 of 4. One of those 4 was the Kentucky Derby, where the horse only finished 4 3/4 lengths off the lead. That was that weird race where Rick Strike came on to go ahead and upset Epicenter, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Rich Strike won it. Something crazy like, yeah, you see it. It's right there, 81 to 1 or $80.50 to 1, since they get all the way down to the dimes down there at Churchill Downs. But other than that, the horse finished third in the Jim Dandy. Yes, I understand that was only a 4-horse field. It's over here denoted on this on the Brisnet Racing form that there were only 4 horses in the Jim Dandy. The 2 that were in front of Tawny Port were actually Epicenter and Zandon, just to give you an idea as to what was going on there. So I decided to go ahead. Again, I've got a real affinity for Brad Cox after winning that Eclipse Award last year. Florent Giroux and him, knockout combination, almost 47% together. And I decided to go ahead and go with Tawny Port, the 3. And with that, I am going to go ahead and hand it off to Joe. How's it going?
All right, thanks, Rick. I'm actually going to take a little bit of, and I'm not taking a stand against the favorite. This is just a very competitive race. I don't really want to take a lot of favorites in races like that. I'm going down to the rail horse one, Hoist the Flag, 6-1 for Dallas Stewart and Brian Hernandez. And this guy's never gone 2 turns. His first time trying that. And I know there's always, don't take his horse at a short price who's trying something new and something he's never done before. But 6-1 to me is not a short price. Both his sire and his dam happened to win their first 2-turn races during their careers. He's obviously in the Malibu in a grade one. He faced Taiba in Forbidden Kingdom, who would probably, I mean, Taiba would be what, 1-5 in here, maybe morning line, maybe less than that, maybe 1-9, who knows? Taiba, Forbidden Kingdom, Gunite, Elite Power, all show in their PP in his PP, and I think the price seems relatively fair. And the race is named for his sire, Mind Chat. So give me the one, Hoist the Gold
Oh.
to 1. Start off this pick 4. I'm not sure who I'm handing to, Ray or Steve. One of you guys.
No, it's going to Ray.
Oh, all right. Happy American he's a formula favorite. He won the last two, but I'm gonna go with the horse who's been chasing him the last two times, Mr. Wireless. Maybe he'll get him this time. Doris off a layoff. Deshaun Parker knows the track pretty well. Beck Calhoun, one of the top trainers down there. So this horse has he's got stalking speed. He could be in front if he has to, but I expect him to be close to the pace. Maybe 2 or 3 wide, and he'll get a clean trip. Um, he knows how to win 6 out of 14 and 9 out of 14 exactly. So I expect it to be close and be in the race. So that's all I'm looking for some action down the stretch. So Mr. Wireless for me. Steve?
All right, I'm gonna go with the 6, Happy American. This one.
Chalk eating weasel next to Steve.
Yeah, you could do that, but I don't
No,
know. I don't think
I don't think that. I'm just trying to mess with you. Actually, there's
I don't think this horse is going to end up being the favorite
yeah.
anyway. But
And I think
we'll see.
7-2 is a respectable price, no matter no matter what horse you're betting.
Yeah. But I don't know. Just looking at how this horse runs, I think it's slower. I think this might be a little bit slower pace race, and that should favor Happy American here. 2, 1, and 3 at the distance in 8 races, and he's ran a lot here at Fairgrounds with some success, so should be very comfortable here. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Happy American here. Call me a chalk eating weasel. Go ahead.
No,
Chuck eating weasel, Chuck eating weasel, Chuck
Chalk
eating weasel.
eating. Exactly. You're on the wrong show.
Money's
You know what
money
you're
when you
saying. I
win.
mean, come on.
You're on the wrong show, man.
We're accumulating money here. Don't matter where it comes from.
Yep.
All right, good start. Nobody's picking anybody else's horse.
There we go. Right.
Right.
All right, first leg pick 4. We're 4 deep.
Yeah, we've got a clean bill here. All right. We are moving on to race number 11. This one's going 1.125 miles on the turf. It is the Fairground Stakes. It is presented by Horse Racing Nation. It's a grade 3. The purse is $150,000. It's for 4-year-olds and upward. And your morning line favorite is right here. We've seen him a few times. His name is Two Emmys, trained by Hugh Robertson and ridden by James Graham. 3-1. So both these favorites so far, kind of tasty prices here on the opening line, morning line. And we are going to go ahead and hand it off to Mr. English. Who do you like here in the Fairground Stakes?
Don't need to move the screen. You're right on the horse. Two Emmys is my pick. One, Robertson, Jimmy Graham. I think last time out he chased an 86-1 lone leader, and I don't think there's anybody in this race who's going to go on that suicide mission. There's only 8 horses in the field, so I think this guy's going to be lone speed. The barn's been a bit snake bit at the meet, but if you see, I mean, the horses are still running. 10 out of 14 are in the money, even though they're 9 seconds in third. This guy has been in the exact 7 out of 10 times at the fairgrounds, and his buyer speed figures are just better than everybody else. He has 3 numbers that exceed 100, and nobody else in the race has run anything above a 99. So if he comes back to those races, and I think if I remember right, one of them was at the fairgrounds last year. In the race coming up, that the Mervyn Muniz that we will talk about in, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks. So Give me the 2. I'll take the favorite. I'll be the chalk eating weasel. Give me the Emmys in the Fairgrounds Stakes. Ready?
All right. I go with number 7, Corelli, Florent Giroux, Jonathan Thomas. They don't hook up too much, but they're 1 for 1. So, but actually, this horse, he's gonna need some pace. So I'm taking a chance here. Um, he did race, a little a tightener there back in January, first start this year. So he raced a couple grade ones last few years. So he's been battling some big horses. Like I said, he's probably gonna need some pace, but you know, it's a it's a big field, so they'll be running hard. And just taking a chance. He's 8 to 1, so that's the price. Is there. Um, it's funny how I noticed that the prime power he's the first at 8 to 1, so that's kind of strange for me, but I'll take it. I trust Bizdet with the figures, and just need some pace, and hopefully, I like Giroux getting aboard. He was on him a few years ago, and didn't run too well, but he probably wasn't in form that day. So, but I'll take Corelli. It's a reach, but this horse has some back class, so he should do well. Steve?
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna change my original one here, and I'm gonna go with my second choice, which is the 4, Gentle Soul. Brett Calhoun and Raylan Gutierrez are winning at a 37% clip in 41 races. Horse has won 3 out of 4 here at Fairgrounds and has won 3 races on the turf in 5 tries and beat 2 Emmys last time out. So, yeah, I'm going to go with a Gentle Soul here.
Steve, that was perfect.
Was it?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm learning.
You asked me you asked me earlier on this show, and you sat there and said, "Well, I don't know if I'm a veteran." I was like, that was actually that was perfect, man. Let me go ahead and I'll bring it back and share my screen with you again, and that's exactly what I would have said.
I actually just did that on the fly while I was looking at the card.
Very nice. Hey, it's funny because and that was your audible, right? So
Yeah.
very nice. My audible may have been the 8, which would have been Bay Street Money, which is Michael Maker and Tyler Gaffleone. So if I was going to try and stay away from your horse, we're a little early in the season and we're a little early in the tournament as far as trying to do that. I actually did like the 4 a lot, um, and I will sit there and say this in respect to you, for all the same reasons that you already gave to us. No need for me to go ahead and add any more. I'm on the 4.
All right.
Up. Population numbers. 4. All right. We're halfway through this thing. We are going to go ahead. We're going to move along to race number 12. Well, race number 12 is it's named in honor of one of the favorite horses of the horse players that are on this particular show. Yeah, we're talking about Rachel Alexandra. They're going a mile and a 16th on the main surface. This is the Rachel Alexandra Stakes, and it's presented by Fasik Tipton. It's a grade 2. Purse is $300,000 for filly 3-year-olds only. And your morning line favorite is in post number 2. Who's your filly? Trained by Thomas Amos and ridden by Edgar Morales. 6-5 on the Fairgrounds morning line. And let's go ahead and start off with Mr. Torado in race number 11. Excuse me, 12.
Yeah, it's I'm having trouble getting off this horse, so I'm gonna just pick her.
Yeah, I wonder why.
She
Start
looks
getting
good. I
music.
mean, who's your
Yeah.
feeling? I'll take the whatever you give me.
Yeah,
$3, 2.40.
yeah. Could have
I
been
don't know. She just looks great. She's working out well. She's 3 for
she
3. She's been winning
works out
bumper links.
like a
She's
locomotive.
a great race winner. The only thing is that she may not be well, for the Oak, you still need points, so she's gonna need some. That's how they do it here. So, but she's has done nothing wrong. Can't knock her. The only thing I would question would be Edgar Morales, another big race against the other jockeys. So
Hmm.
they could always pressure her, but she could actually come off the pace. So like I said, she's done nothing wrong. So until she beats me, I'll go with her. So who's your Philly for me? I need winners.
No,
Steve,
hard.
All right, I'm going a little bit off the reservation here. I'm gonna take the horse that's on the rail there, Baba, at what I think 8 to 1. Uh, but yeah, Baba. I like the name,
By
But
gun runner.
Louis Saez on board, yeah, by Gun Runner. It looks like the horse looks like it's had out of the three out of her 4 races, it's had a problem getting out of the gate. It looks like, and I don't know,
Oh,
maybe a clean trip gives her a good chance here with her speed numbers. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Baba.
all right. Hang on 1 second. Throw that one in there. And I was actually kind of hoping that nobody was going to go with the favorite in this particular one because, yeah, that appears to me to be a little monster out of this into mischief. So I will go with my second choice in this race, which is I'll just go other into mischief, which is pretty mischievous. Which unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess I should say for me, happens to land me with a horse that is owned and bred by Godolphin and trained by Brendan Walsh and ridden by Tyler Gaffney. So, not that I had to stretch my sensibilities too far here, but I ended up on the 5. And just to show you that I'm just not a sucker for a name. Let's be honest, you guys all know I'm just a sucker for a name. But in reality, here, this horse started off at Churchill Downs. Those are those little, maiden special weight $120,000 affairs, and then optional claim or $100,000 affairs. So, may have started out really in little stakes races, and then ended up in the Goldenrod. Got beat by Who's Your Philly there, and got beat significantly. You see a good effort, 4 wide, steady effort. I thought, maybe a little bit of forgiveness, and the horse comes back right at Fairgrounds and wins the untappable impressively. And so with Brendan Walsh, with it being a Dolphin, uh, and probably most importantly with Ray already taking the horse that I really wanted, I'm going to go ahead and go with pretty mischievous with Brendan Walsh and Tyler Gaffleone, and I'm really kind of interested to see who Joe liked in this race.
Well, I fortunately I love that Fairgrounds puts their PPs out like so far in advance because I've actually had a chance to watch a lot of these run, and I watched Hoosier Philly, and yes, she was. I don't think the last race she could have won any easy, but I'm not. It, to me, I have the lead now. I don't know necessarily that I want to. If you guys are going to pick 3 to 5 shots in the morning line, more power to you. If you catch me, you catch me. You're gonna have to catch a lot of 3 to 5s. I actually went with the horse you on, Rich. I went with 5 pretty sure. The horse that she beat in the untappable, the Alice look was the horse that Ray picked and the horse that won Silver Bullet Day last time out. She's not in this race, um, but she went on to win. So that makes her a pretty good account for pretty mischievous. She's one of the 2 3-time winners in the race. Obviously, Hoosier Philly's the other. And the fact that Gaffleone gets them out back after Brian Hernandez won aboard this filly in the untappable, I don't mind because over they're 18% together over a 5-year period. Walsh and Gaffleone, He's only 14% with other jocks. And Hermod won a grade one, so I'm going to say maybe this time it's her turn to win a grade one. And it's funny, I did hear on TVG, FanDuel TV today, we were talking about if there's a time to get a horse like Hoosier Philly, it's usually the first time back. So I'm going to take the 9-2, and I'll try and beat Hoosier Philly with Pretty Mischief.
Nice. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and fill those in. And 5 and 2. All righty. Those. And we are going to go ahead, and it's amazing how quickly we come to the finale each and every week here on Tournament Horse Racing. And for those of you who are watching, I apologize. I'm trying to get that little pop-up to come down off the screen. I'm going to go ahead and keep sharing my screen here until the end, and then I'll figure out what's going on with my PC. But as again, it seems like each week we come to the end pretty quickly. But this is race number 13. As a matter of fact, this is why we're all here. This is the Risen Star Stakes, which is, as you see there, going 1 1/8 on the main track. It's presented by Lamarck Lincoln and Lamarck Crescent City Ford. Grade 2, purse is $400,000 for 3-year-olds only. And if I'm not mistaken, this is another one of the Kentucky Derby points races. Mistaken, they're going again 28, 6, and 2 for
Rich?
first. Yes.
No, it's 50, 50, 20, 15, 10, and I want to say 5 is the last spot.
Thank you, Joe. So this is the first of the 50 points. Yeah.
Correct.
All right. Again, race number 13, and your morning line favorite is in. I believe the morning line favorite actually is in post number 13. Victory
Yeah.
Formation for Brad Cox, ridden by Flavian Pratt, and they are 3-1 there on the Fairgrounds morning line. And Steve, you're going to go ahead and get to kick us off here in the Risen Star.
Yeah, nobody better pick this horse, but I'm going to go with the favorite here. Victory Formation.
What are you going to do if we do pick it?
No, absolutely nothing. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I am picking the favorite here. Maybe to no surprise. I mean, this is a really tough race to pick. I think I have
I thought so too.
I'm glad we're not doing a pick 4.
Yeah.
So I have 6 horses written down here. But yeah, I mean, I always like the Flavian Pratt, Brad Cox combination there. Horse is 3-0, hasn't been beaten yet. Has some really nice workouts. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the favorite in this one. Who's up next, Ray?
No, actually, you are handing. Yeah, you're actually handing off right back to me.
Oh, okay.
All right, and that actually would have been my backup choice, the 13. I'm gonna go actually a little bit inside here. I did love the 13. I think Victory Formation is really deserving. I'm going to go with the 5. I'm going to go a little off the reservation here. And as you see here, I've already highlighted it for you. The reason why I'm going off the reservation. This is the classic angle for me. The West Coast dirt horse going east. This is Harlow Cap. He was previously trained by Bob Baffert, and he was trained by Bob Baffert all the way up until I saw him just a few weeks ago there at Santa Anita when he broke his maiden there. And he is by Justify. He cost $400,000, and they have transferred him over now to Steven Asmussen. John Velasquez has chosen to stay aboard. This is obviously an attempt to go ahead and gather those Kentucky Derby points, which Joe was talking to you about. This race being worth 50 for first, and even better, 20 for second. So Harlow Cap, who is going to go to the lead, he will show his speed early. I've actually been a big fan of Justify already as a sire, so he's been putting up some good percentages. For whatever reason, they didn't quite come through on my racing form. Even the one that I downloaded this morning, for some reason, is missing the Justify racing stats. But he has been a very good sire. You can trust me on that one. And I thought Harlow Cap was worth an upset possibility at 8-1 on the Fairgrounds morning line. And Joe, who do you like in the Risen Star?
I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm going to assume this will hold. This is the toughest Derby prep we will see this whole season. I don't think there's any question about it.
Cheers.
I would not be surprised if there are 10 horses who could, I think, win this race. And even if you want to go stretch the horse on the outside, running on turf the whole time, if he wins, I won't even really be all that surprised.
Yep.
The three inside horses are kind of overmatched to me. Other than that, anybody can win. I would not be surprised at any result. That being said, I'm going to go with the horse who, I don't know, I think is being a little bit disrespected. That's the 10, Two Phils. If we look back not too long ago, he ran second and over this very track in the Lecomte, Instant Coffee, and it's like, well, Instant Coffee is obviously highly regarded. They're just skipping this race, waiting for the Louisiana Derby in, I guess it's 4 weeks or 5 weeks. But he ran a solid second last time out, and Larry Ravelli and Jareth Loveberry have 31% trainer combination over 5 years. Been showing good improvement every start. He showed, obviously showed it very well of himself in start at 3. It seems like this race has a lot of pace in it. Rich's horse, Harlow Cap's going to go to the lead. I don't see Victory Formation backing off anytime soon, so he's probably going to go to the lead. And I think I'm pretty sure there's at least one other horse that I was thinking about. Can't remember who it was that was going to go to the lead. But I think this race sets up for somebody to come from off the pace, which Two Phils can do. And I like the 5 furlong drill on the 8th. It was 59-4 if I remember correct. But again, you can go any number of ways. You can go to the other cops. You can go to Curly Jack. There are not many things that would surprise me in this race. This is pretty tough. So if you're playing a pick 4, pick 5, whatever multi-race sequence, go as deep as you can, because even then you may still not have, you can go 8 deep. Still not. I could go 8 deep and still think that there would be horses that could beat me.
That's good advice.
So, but give me the 10 Two Phils, right?
Well, Rich, I'm joining you. The Hollow Cap. Asperson might have a Derby horse here, somehow. It's funny, the last race he ran, he was on the lead. If you look at the speed figures, the E1, E2, they're kind of low. So it looks like, he wasn't, I mean, he might have been on the lead, but he ran slow fraction. So in my eyes, he was just, I mean, he might have been on the lead, but I would say he could have been stalking too, the kind of cruising speed he had, and he drew off. So for me, the extra ground shouldn't be a problem. So I think he could probably rate off any speed that's gonna, present to him. And John knows how to do that pretty well too. So, um, I justify, this horse. Usually, the last few years, the big horses have been the big speed horses. So I'm gonna go in the front, try and catch me. Just even if you have to catch from the top of stretch, whatever. If he makes a move, whatever. So, he looks like a good one. Baffert had him, his typical Baffert workouts, but now, Steve have him. So, this might have been a gift for him. Thank you very much, because of, I think today Baffert did get denied by the judges to go to Kentucky, so he's out for another year. So expect a lot of changes in the trainers
Oh yeah.
in the next few weeks, and this is one of them. So, Steve, you might have a W horse here. So let's see. And he's 8-1, so I'll take the price. So
Yeah, none of the horses trained by Baffert can earn Derby. So yes, anybody who's
I
expecting
think that was Rich that took him.
No, he was saying Steve Asmussen, not Steve Newsom.
Steve asked me. Yeah, he has a W horse. Yeah,
Oh,
Steve asked me. I'm sorry.
man, you're confusing me. I'm like,
I'm on a first name basis with Steve. Steve Asperson.
Baffert
I say,
cannot
I
predict
say,
There
these
you go.
points.
Mr. Asmussen. Okay, sir.
Yeah,
I should call him sir because he's that well respected, sir.
When he gets to 10,000, he'll have his finger up.
10,000 races, I'll call him sir. I see him in Saratoga, sir.
no, it took me a second too, Steve. You know, I was caught off guard until I thought in my mind, I'm like, well, nobody gives a crap about Steve. Well, let's,
Right? No.
let's not go there. But all right, I believe I've got the numbers filled in correctly here, right? For everybody.
Yeah.
Mine are
7, 2,
Yep.
5, 6, 4,
only
1,
Hotchwing.
13, 3, 4, 5, 5. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and come back to everybody here. I will go ahead and throw in a very quick plug for our local favorite establishment. It used to be called the Tilted Kilt there in Temecula, California. They have changed their name. They are a new establishment. They are now called Bananas California Cantina. I had an opportunity to go in tonight, sample some of the food, and I will tell you, it was delicious. I was sharing that with Joe just a little bit before the show. In particular, the fish tacos caught my attention as something I really enjoyed, and the katsu chicken sandwich, which we got to sample like a little bit of a plate with a bunch of different things and like that. So the food there at Bananas California Cantina was delicious. The
Are
beer,
they open now, or were you? Or that was just a sample, like a
uh, they were open.
tasting?
They were
They
actually
were
open
open.
today.
Today.
Yeah,
Today was
yeah,
the
yeah,
today was the grand opening.
Can I order DoorDash or Uber Eats?
yeah. Probably.
So are they
Probably.
still showing
May take a
the
while to get
TVs
to
that
you.
show sports and stuff, or no?
Yeah, they were still. Yeah,
Maybe like $200 right there
yeah.
for the cost of delivery.
There's
It
still a
was.
sports bar.
It
Two
was.
hundred bucks is
Yeah.
probably
For
if you get
right.
it for $200, you're getting away easy.
For right now, it's still showing as a sports bar, and felt very, very familiar, at least at this point in time. But a lot of changes are coming. You can see that they're still doing the remodel. It's still underway at this point in time. But I just wanted to give them kudos that the food was, in fact, really, really good, and was a delight. So,
Okay.
all right. Anybody want to have any final thoughts here on the horse racing calendar? You know what? I'm sorry. Should have taken a look at that
Next
before we
week
came.
is Oakland, right?
Yeah,
I
next
saw it
week.
on the
Thank
on
you,
the
Joe. I apologize for that. I hope everybody has a wonderful President's Day weekend before we sign off, by the way. We are coming up here on a 3-day weekend for most of America. So, President's Day weekend on Monday. And as Joe called it, next Saturday, February the 25th, we will be at Oaklawn Park for the Rebel Stakes and the Honeybee. This particular tournament is called the Preps, or it could be called the Derby Trail, if you like. We're leading up to the Kentucky Derby, so as you can see, we're covering a lot of the Derby races that have Derby points, as you heard tonight. 50 points on the line for the Risen Star. I believe that'll be the same for the Rebel Stakes next week. Let's see. Sunday, for those of you who are interested, beginning of NASCAR racing season. The Daytona 500 begins this particular Sunday, so you know me. I enjoy watching just about anything that'll go ahead and race quickly around in a circle and that you can gamble on. So, anybody have any final thoughts before we go ahead and sign off for the week?
Yeah, Aqueduct is open Monday. So happy President's Day.
Oh, nice. Aqueduct opens up on Monday. Nice.
And I'm
Nice.
off, so you never know. I might show up there.
I can't remember golf
Santa
for
Anita's Santa Anita's open on Monday, but I was thinking about going actually on.
a few years there. Gulfstream had like a traditional President's Day card, and then I remember last year it didn't actually occur. I'll have to see if they have that because I remember Kate and Bradar was always the broadcaster on that and kind of, you know, took in history with us all.
But before we go, Lahaim.
Yeah, Laheim. All right. For everybody out there, thank you. That's exactly how we do it here on tournament horse racing. Again, we'll be back next week. We will be down there at Oaklawn Park to cover the Rebel Stakes. For Ray Torado and Steve Newsom and Joe English, my name is Rich Sharp. Show's called Tournament Horse Racing. Good night, everybody, and good luck with your picks. Good night.
Night all.
Good night.
Night.